I'm going to share today my famous pizza crust, homemade, tastes just as good as the pizza crust you get out, but very, very easy and fat-free. So you start off with 1 cup of water and warm it up to about 105. Takes about a minute in the microwave on high. Add about 1 teaspoon of sugar. That's just so that the yeast gets really active. Okay, I know my yeast is really fresh, but I always let it rest and let it foam to make sure it's good. So we just let it sit there for about 5 minutes. Okay, it's foaming up nicely. Okay, we want 1 heaping cup of flour, just regular flour, and then add the yeast. Just stir it around. You want it to be kind of like a little thicker than cake batter at this point. I'm going to add just a tad more, maybe 1/8 of a cup. So it'd be 1 1/8 total. Okay, that's the first step. Then once at that point, spray it with some non-cooking spray. Okay, what you want to do is uncover, you don't cover it up, set it in the oven, turn it off, and then just turn on the light and close it. And it'll let it double. Sometimes it'll take 30 minutes, but you can leave it up to around 3 hours. It's going to be just fine in there. Just make sure you don't turn your oven on, of course. But yeah, it'll be fine in there for 30 minutes to 3 hours. A little trick I have when I have something in the oven that I don't want to turn on by accident, I always turn both of my dials to off. That way I know if I go say, oh, I want to cook something and turn on bake, I'll see that I've turned this one to off too, and so, oops, I forgot I have something in there. I do it all the time, so I had to come up with some kind of little system to keep from doing that. Looks like the dough has doubled already. Looks good. We'll go on to the next step. Okay, we're getting close to homemade pizza, so just kind of flour your surface. Okay, the dough is very wet. You wouldn't want to stick your hand in here because it's really, really wet. So you just kind of scrape it out onto the floured surface. I really recommend getting one of these tools. This is really, really good tool. Really, really like it for making dough. Okay, now here's the secret part. Okay, I hadn't added any salt yet. So what you do is when you knead it with this, you add salt as you go. It ends up making it kind of like a cracker crust almost. Helps it for it to get a lot crispier rather than just adding the salt at the beginning of the process. Knead it around with this little tool till it's not quite as sticky and you can handle it with your hands. Just kind of add enough flour. Total flour, probably 1.5 cups, if that much. You never want it to be really dry looking, because then you'll end up with a dough that tastes like, feels like cardboard that you're eating when you're eating it. So, okay. Just add a little more more salt. Needs a little salt. You don't want to really taste it, but it gives it flavor. It helps to add flavor. A little more flour. I don't like getting glue on my hands, so I've devised a way to where I get as little as possible. You want this to feel really soft. Doesn't have to be kneaded much, just to get it good. That feels really good. Okay, now once it's at this point, you get a pan. You can tell it's very well used. We do a lot of pizza around here. Pick your dough up, just plop it right in the middle of it. Then, with the non-stick spray, just spray some on it, and let it rest about 10, 15 at the least, and up to 30 minutes. There's no really big hurry. Just kind of look at it. You know, as long as it looks okay, it's fine. But we'll get back to it in maybe about 10 minutes. Okay, we've let it sit. Okay, so now it shouldn't be just too sticky. It'll be real soft, but you can spray it with a little non-stick spray. And it should be really smooth. Real smooth feeling. Just kind of work it out to the edges real carefully. Some of this probably takes some practice, but once you do it a few times, you go, oh, okay, now I know how to make pizza crust. I've preheated my oven to about as hot as it'll go, about 445, 500, really hot as it can go. And what we're going to do is put the pizza dough in the oven with nothing on it. Let it cook this way. And you can have your sides up as high as you want. You can even pull it, put like cheese and stuff around, and then it's real elastic, and then pull it and wrap it around and make a stuffed crust. I've done that before too. But okay, so now it is all nice and done, and we'll stick it in the oven. Okay, my oven is really hot. We're just going to put this on the bottom rack. It should take, probably about 10 minutes. With your oven being so hot, it's always good to kind of check periodically just to see. Looks like it's almost done. Got 2 more minutes left. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. Looks pretty cooked. Okay, right now it's at the point of like a pre-cooked crust. You can, it's pretty solid. Put your toppings. What I like to do is I like to top it with like onion and things that aren't real wet. That's the problem with the pizzas that you cook at home with homemade crust. A lot of times they get soggy, and I think a lot of times it's because we put too much on it, and our ovens just don't get hot enough, like a oven at a restaurant. So you just have to be a little more creative. And I'll put onion and maybe some mushroom, bell pepper and stuff on it. Cook it a little longer, and then I'll put my cheese and pepperoni on it. And when I serve it with the sauce on the side, and then you can put your sauce on it. And to me, that's just so much better because the sauce, first off, isn't so hot it's going to burn your mouth, and second, it just makes sure your crust is going to be good. But you can put the sauce on this. Just, I wouldn't recommend putting a whole lot. If you like a whole lot, then I would add it at the end. But you know, you can do that. But anyway, that's how it is. And man, it'd save you a lot of calories and salt and garbage they put into frozen pizzas and pizzas that you buy at restaurants that have who knows what in. You know exactly what's in this pizza crust, and it's good. Your kids will love it. Happy cooking!